So I think I'm trying an experiment today. I love my experiment. I'm going to try to learn astrology without reading any real books, just kind of repeating the same information over again. It's a theory of mine. It's kind of like I think astrology has association to it. It's like word association. That's what all this shit is. And what I'm trying to accomplish is to find associations with all of this stuff so that it's a little easier to remember. You get what I mean? Because you need to do a lot of mathematics involved, arithmetic, but not arithmetic like you're used to where 1 + 1 = 2. It's more like happy, hot and cold equal warm. That sort of type of expression, because you're not dealing with solid concepts. They're fluid ideas that, and yeah, they have meaning and they have a sense of solidity to them, but they are changeable. They can be added and subtracted into other things, into other meanings. This interesting. Kind of like this. So what do you see? Is the Judgment card. In the Judgment card and the other Tower decks, I don't associate the same as this. The Rider-Waite deck, it's more of an awakening of, I see that as people coming to your side, people waking up the world around you to the truth that is you. I think that more of a spiritual journey with the Rider-Waite deck. This is more of Judgment. This is beautiful white dove flashing some bright hot light on some dirty old bats on the surface. What is that? It's illuminating the dark. This is the light bringer. This is like Lucifer. I was actually just writing my Tower of the Shadows book, and it was on the Lucifer card, which is the same thing. The Lucifer, the light bringer, the bringer of light, the illuminator of darkness. It's also associated in this deck with the five of wands. I can randomly find that really quick, and there's no such thing as random, so it'll find it as soon as I need to. It's actually the 7 of wands, not bad, but it was right there, illuminating the darkness for those to see. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I mean, this is a little bit different because the wands represent some other shit. Maybe this is more of sharing your idea with others, putting yourself out there. 7 of wands. What is the 7 of wands and the other ones? I think in the Rider-Waite, I don't have that deck on me. It's upstairs, but I think that's the one where the guy's standing on the hill. There's all the other wands around him. That's the one that's in my head. And I think I associated that one with like mental fortitude, the enemies, the unseen enemies, societal enemies, not enemies, but dissent challenges. Instead of focusing so much on the physical realm of people attacking you and people coming at you, and it's not always attacks, but I'm talking in the metaphorical sense, that the 7 was more of dealing with the other concepts up here. We deal with it was the 5 of swords, but 5 of wands was more of people. It was like that king of the hill. Everybody was battling with their wands, and this is kind of, which represented to me all the people in your head, the people that tell you that you can't do things and you're not going to be able to make it. The 7 of cups, 7 of wands was more of dealing with the societal aspects of what you're trying to do, and this is kind of similar, I guess. But this one says to me, like Bear, the one who's illuminating for others, and this may just be for our individual self, looking into the darkness that's within us to illuminate the truth of ourselves. It's only with looking within that we ever find out who we really are. That's kind of what this goes. But that's not the point of this. Doing tarot cards is fun, but I'm trying to do. This is like I said, it's an experiment. Astrology, kind of doing what I've been doing with the cards, and that is to go into characteristics and see what associations I can make with it. Normally I'd be writing this stuff, but I want to try it out like this. Going back to my idea of funneling my own bullshit through my mind to figure myself out. And in the past 2 days, I've been so consumed with everything that was going on in my life. I finally feel that I have processed enough of that, those experiences, to come back to doing work, real work. Oh, it was all real work. I work all the time. Like, even going out, it's work. It's not easy to deal with so many fucking people and all that energy and all that shit that comes along with leaving the house. People are difficult to deal with sometimes. But anyway, so I think I'm just going to go off and just read what's on this site and then let my mind start doing its own thing. So I'm just going to read. Zodiac is derived from the Greek word meaning circle of animals. The zodiac itself is a wheel, a cycle that shows the order of all the 12 zodiac or astrological signs. 12 signs are derived from the 12 lunar cycles or months when the sun returns to its original position. The 12 signs are also identified by 12 constellations that help lead the sequence and movement of the seasons. These signs are each broken down into elemental qualities, ruling planets and houses. In order, the zodiac signs are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So, what else about astrology? Because I was having this discussion with people earlier this weekend. And a lot of people don't believe in astrology, and I don't understand why. Well, I can understand why, because they don't understand it properly. And the reason for that is, and I think I've been over this many times, is that astrology is the effect of the energies from the other planets affecting us psychologically. But then at the same time, the energies that are all coming down to us are the same energies that we're projecting out from us, which goes to the concept of as above, so below, as within, so without. Because you have to understand what those energies represent. The energies that come from outside of our planet. The communications, if you will, with the extraterrestrials, because that's ultimately what it is. You don't have to believe that they're living entities. If you subscribe to the concept of all consciousness, like kind of hermeticism, then you'll know that everything's alive in one way, shape, or form. Everything has consciousness. So everything is self-aware to a degree. And the planets themselves and the stars are no different than anyone else, because they're just energy, just like us. And everything else, just like the Earth, just like the computer, its house. People that are outside, your thoughts, your ideas, it's all energy. It's one form or another. Now, whether you want to believe that energy is conscious, that's up to you, but I do. And the reason I do is because I've seen enough evidence to prove that I'm kind of on the right track. I don't need to prove anything anymore. Now I just know. I've seen enough, experienced enough to know that for instance, the events of this weekend, me meeting somebody who just happened to fit the specifications of everything I've always wanted in a human being. That is interesting. It's interesting, but when you then backtrack it into how I was even put into the position to have met that person, or be put into the position to even be in the position to have met that person, or to even be why I was there in the first place, which was led back to, in fact, something that happened 2 weeks ago, which the reason that even happened was because of some well-timed experiences on my birthday, which were all part of the fact that my parents just happened to have sex on this one particular day that led to me gestating and being birthed on the very particular day that I was born. And then my entire life going exactly the way that it had to throughout the past 39 years so that I could be in the exact spot that I was in Saturday. Under the stars. Bringing up astrology, because it was actually astrology that started the conversation that led to this. And now, granted, this person is just a fleeting memory at this point, but that's not the point of it. It's not that it came and went. The fact is that it was there, because everything's temporary. Nothing is forever. The fact that I experienced what I experienced right when I experienced it is testament enough that, yeah, I got my dream. Because of astrology. Which is interesting, because how does astrology help? Well, one, stars were out that night, and the stars were a topic of conversation that led me down this little path that I was on. But even still, what this was saying is that the process from new moon to the full moon, and the shit in between. New and full are really the ones I pay attention to the most, because the energies around there are usually pretty intense for me. They usually always are. Depends though. They have different qualities, like sometimes, and that's why I need to get back to paying attention to. I need to really start comparing the experiences in my life from this year to last year, because and that's why I like to do that a lot, to look at my old books and see what I was doing this day last year, because sometimes there's clues, and there's not so much clues, but the correspondence between this day and last year on this day are usually pretty accurate, eerily accurate. So finding the patterns and cycles in life, and because that's really all this is, because the zodiac doesn't change; it stays the same every year, but the themes and the stories in our life change with this cycle. If that makes sense. I'm just looking on patterns, looking to find patterns, because we all have those repeating patterns in our life. Call it karma. Call it whatever the fuck you want. And if you can find them, you can change them. And if you can change them, then all right, go me. Bye. So let's carry on. Now, granted, I also have some theories that I also believe that the zodiac itself is just like your sun sign, all your signs. They're not really there to dictate too much. It's a blueprint. You need to fill in all the gaps, like all the other zodiacs that aren't relevant in your particular chart. It's up to you to kind of embody those characteristics and bring them into yourself and to integrate them into your life. Which I don't think a lot of people realize. They think they just focus on what their chart says, if they even realize that at all. But you don't need any of this stuff. It's none of it's essential. It's cool. It's very cool, and it's very helpful for using with guidance, in a sense that helps shine light on certain aspects of who we are that might be difficult to look at sometimes, that we don't really take the time to focus on. And then what do we have? What do we have? Let's see that later. All right, so first sign is Aries. Aries is the initiator. It's the cardinal fire. It's the first house. I don't know shit about houses. I don't know nothing about them yet. Ruler, Mars, element, fire, quality, cardinal, first house. Okay, lovely. unbridled expression of your inner nature. What does that mean? I don't know. Unbridled energy. Unbridled expression of your inner nature. I guess it's like a no holds barred, like, fuck it. What does it mean to me? Unbridled. Unbridled means, bridle is what people on a horse. Unbridled means it's just going. There's no stopping it. Expression of your inner nature. So you're just you. Whoever you are is you're you. Your inner nature. And what is your inner nature? Your inner nature is uh, an expression of yourself, of the true you. I guess. You know what? This is really good. This weekend, I had no problem telling people I was a witch. I came out of the closet. I was just telling everybody I was a witch. Because technically, yeah, it'd be the easiest way to explain it to people. And it was colorful. And I was having fun with drunk people. And I wasn't lying. I was telling the truth. I'm a witch. I practice witchcraft. Not in the sense that most people consider it, but I do practice it. I think my brother stole one of my magic rings. I stole it, and as we've been discussing this whole experience, this whole experiment of doing these lives um, and talking to myself is really training for me to be more of my authentic self. And I think that this weekend was a really great example of that because I really got to do that in a live scenario. And this wasn't so much for people. Now, granted, I didn't know anybody there, and well, we knew one person. By the second night, we knew everybody. I think almost everybody knew us. Everybody knew us. Knew me. Almost everybody. And that's it. That is it. And then that's really there's my association with it is the experience that I had this week, and the experience that I have all the time is that unbridled expression of your inner nature. Yes, that is just me being me. I try not to hide anything of myself. When. Um, when I go anywhere, when I do anything, I try to be me. And what is me? I'm me. I don't know. I see shit that's not there, and I hear shit that people don't see. And hear and see shit that isn't there. But I hear and see things that aren't there because nobody else can, which is fine. I mean, some people can, but not everybody can. It's it really, it's all dry. I think we're picking at my dry skin. Um, activity that is self-motivated, like this. I mean, anything that's self-motivated, like going out for a walk, like this kind of represents like this makes me think of the wands, like that I want to do something idea. That's what the wands in the tarot makes me think of. Initial fire. Well, this is a fire sign, so I guess that kind of makes a lot of sense because that's what fire is. That initial. I want to do something. What do you want to do? I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure it out. I need to look into the emotional aspect of myself to really dig into that. Activity that is self-motivated. Well, that's anything. It's really any activity. That's activity. Well, because even if someone tries to, even someone invites us to go out with them, we have to make that initial. Yeah, I want to do that. Do I want to do that? Maybe you have to be self-motivated to do that. Right? I guess not always. I mean, this is a self-motivated act. This is an act of Aries. This is literally an act of Aries because otherwise I was lying in bed writing stuff down, and which also, in a sense, was self-motivated because it's what I do. Like everything I do is self-motivated. Everything you do is self-motivated to a degree or another, even whether you want to do it or not. Unaffected by others. Unaffected. What is unaffected? Affected. Affected. I forgot what affected. Oh. affected by others. Okay, I can see that. That is, again, this is like another. What this makes me think of is being at a bar and dealing with what could easily be. There were situations that could have gotten more aggressive than what they were, especially when you're dealing with drunk people. Um, Sometimes people say things that they don't mean. I had met someone in particular who was over, what's the right word? Overzealous with some of the things he was saying. And I think at first there was a cockiness, a tension that was between us that eventually, how do I put it? Pushing my buttons, trying to push my buttons. But I don't think anyone realized that they were trying to push buttons. I don't think that was a thing. I think that was just my own internal um, what do you call it? Insecurity. Going, oh, push my buttons. But still, I don't let anyone push my buttons. I try not to. And if someone pushes my buttons, I push it right back because it's just natural. This is what I do. I mean, if you're gonna poke the line's gonna poke back. Saying, not like fucking destroy you, but that could be very easily done. I don't love exchange. I give back what you put out. In reality, though, that interaction was actually quite profound later on. It's actually a really good conversation that I enjoyed very much. So Aries is like, I get it. I think I'm starting to feel it a little bit more. Aries is more of a new beginnings, I guess, because Aries is the first zodiac, so it's the beginning of March. It starts in the equinox. Start new cycles. Birth, enthusiasm, and vitality. Well, you know what? That's also very true because we all get excited around springtime, whether it's nice or not. I always have the habit of getting too excited for spring. It's still cold afterwards. Enthusiasm, birth, same thing. The rebirth of a new cycle, new beginning. Vitality. Vitality is the sun raising up and being birthed anew. It's even Aries, the ram, it's charging energy moving forward, which is what the sun is doing coming out of the tomb of winter. It's raising, resurrecting itself up back towards the summer solstice, which is when it's at its peak. Interesting. Expression of your inner nature. Being you. This isn't terribly difficult. This is also a masculine energy as well. Masculine aspect of Mars. So this is an experiment. And Scorpio. Yeah. Rules Pluto, but really the ruler is Mars. Water sign. Fixed sign. The 8th house is also ruled by Pluto, but mostly it's ruled by originally it's ruled by Aries, Mars. And this is the sign of death. Scorpio, the deeper, the esoteric symbol for it is actually a phoenix. It's rising from the ashes, resurrection. Scorpion sting, it's a killer, it's a transformer. It transforms life from life to death. So it's death. Death is the resurrection of something new. Death comes before rebirth. So yeah, this would be like almost a perfect complement to Aries, which is the birth of a new cycle. This is Scorpio would be the end of the cycle. Transformation. When transformation, change, ego, death. These are all appropriate descriptors. Transformation is just that, transforming into something new, which is the same as change. Ego death is you're dying off to those old aspects of yourself that were holding you, that were these preconceived thought patterns and associations. Rebirth, same thing. This is not the actual rebirth. This is the process of rebirthing. Transcendence, transcending the old. Yeah, of course. I mean, even I could say that coming out of this weekend, that rebirthed to something new, dying off to old conceptions of who I thought I was. And, I mean, like little stuff. I mean, I pushed myself to limits that I had not ever went before this weekend. It was actually pretty interesting. I was just saying to my brother that this weekend was full of very intense life-changing experiences. Many valuable lessons are learned. I danced with some girls, and I talked to a bunch of girls, women who were extremely beautiful, who I normally would be afraid of. I've been learning how to talk to them, and I realized the things I was supposed to, how to communicate. And that's the beautiful thing, is that my failure, because again, like I was saying, like even though I met the woman of my dreams, doesn't mean that we're going to fuse into some new union. That's not what that's saying. What it means is I found one, because there's millions, there's billions, there's 4 billion women. Say just one is the only one is very difficult to say. But again, that is me transcending out this new aspect of myself, these new characteristics, these new what's the word? New aspects, I guess. These new aspects of myself that are being slowly integrated, and I think that's a lot of what's going on. Is I noticed that the pattern from this week has been, I've been trying to push myself and learn as much as I can about myself, like talking directly to myself, just like that. And everything I've been trying to talk about, and everything I've been trying to purge, and everything I've been trying to do has really culminated this weekend when I stepped away from the desk and went into a live scenario to see exactly how I could be. And realistically, I embodied everything that I was trying to. It was actually really amazing. And Scorpio, this is actually pretty interesting, because this is exactly what I'm doing, transcending the old me to rise above intense emotional involvement with the process of personal growth. Yes, I can say that for sure. I fell in love with a woman, and it was a very intense, very 2 days for me, because I've been thinking about her a lot. And this isn't the first time this happened either. This has happened a few times, but for good reason. I'm not the settling type. I don't like to settle. Settle as in settle for second best. I don't believe in what people say, that you need to just be okay with certain aspects of your life and just okay, that's just what it is. No, you don't. I don't believe in that. I believe that there is no settling. There's nobody is going to make me take any less than best. I've settled long enough in my life that I won't want to do that. And over the past year, I've met not many, few women that have fit certain physical attributes, aspects, characteristics, and also have the mental characteristics that go along that match with my own. So to me, that's kind of a win-win when you can find a human being that embodies exactly what you find appropriate in a mate or a partner. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to find someone that you enjoy visually and mentally and emotionally, and go from there. So I think that's a theory. So yeah, that's really what this process was, because even familiar with the heart chakra opening and what that feels like, what that really feels like, it's actually a very intense feeling. got sober. I mean, it's happened sober before, but this was like very intense. Luckily, this time though, I feel after the first time it happened last year, it was very difficult to. Um, it was difficult to process it because I wasn't used to that feeling. I wasn't used to anyone making me feel that way. But but in terms of personal growth, it was that that experience that I needed to prove to myself that I could do exactly what I thought I could do. And not oddly enough, but it was also with another beautiful woman, another woman that I would consider to be exceptional, of exceptional beauty and physical appearance. And what do those things teach me? Personal growth. They taught me that the the women who I once thought were out of my league, or actually it's quite the opposite. I'm out of theirs. Um, I learned that. I learned that this weekend too. You are not good enough for me. You look good. You do have some brains, but you are definitely not. You got some work to do. You got work to do. Before you can handle this, I'm too much. I'm too much for you. But that's okay. I know I am. I can't. This goes back. Personal growth. What kind of personal growth have I been accepting? Is that I'm the best at everything I do. I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. No one will ever match me. No one will ever top me. No one will ever be able to do the things that I can do. I said to my brother that the experiences that we had this weekend where it was we made it happen. No one else made it happen. Those things people would have lived their little lives if we weren't around, but we had exactly the experience that we had to have because we were there. So if we weren't there, none of it would have happened. It wouldn't have been worth it. And just like I say with everything in my life, I'm number one. I am number one. If it not for me, nothing else matters. Because without me, what else should I care about? Yeah, I'm not saying that you need to not care about anything else. So not. It's good to care about things, care about everything. But it's also important to be able to let go of anything at any time. Because if you can't let go, it's going to hold on to you and it owns you. And if it owns you, and it being whatever you want. For instance, I could easily be obsessed with this girl, which in a sense I am. Not in a sense, but I am. But she's just one person. Yeah, it's difficult to let go, but that's a gift that I have, is that I can learn to let go easier than other people. I think I don't need to distract myself, and maybe this is a little bit of distraction, but it's allowing me to release the energy and have a conversation that I wouldn't be able to have because I got no one to talk to. Because I'm my only, though everybody else works for me, this system of expression that I'm doing is only for me because it can't work on anybody else because nobody else is willing to. No one can sit there for a half hour to let me talk for hours. I mean, they can, but they're not going to enjoy it. A movement from individual certainties to the mysteries of life. What the fuck does that mean? Okay. I guess in a sense, this is transcending the mundane life and really putting more of your efforts and energies into the mysteries of life, the great mysteries, why things are the way they are, including the esoteric sciences. And this is a really pertinent one as well because I can relate to this as well. This is that dying to, like this was saying, dying to ego death, dying to the old self, dying to the physical realm, rebirthing into this spirit breaking through the limits of the individual ego. Yeah, that's exactly what that's what I'm getting at, is the spiritual nature of you breaking out, letting go of the mundane, the that which does not serve. I mean, we can look at that with my life in that when I had my awakening and I quit my job and I decided to follow the occult and the esoteric sciences and the mysteries and the great work the whole time. This is my new life. I'm not going back to that old way of being because it's dead. It's gone. It's gone. There's only moving forward now. In that, there is no moving backwards. You can't go backwards. It's impossible. You cannot go backwards. I've experienced this. Is that when you try to go backwards, something fucking knocks you off your seat and you're gonna come back. It's just the way it is. I'm trying to figure out the intelligence behind that, but you got to understand there are certain aspects that you can't control, at least not yet. I believe that there's a form of transcendence that will come about that will allow individuals to control the minds of other individuals. I think I can do that already. I know I can. I've experienced it. And what you call coincidence, I don't consider coincidence. It's just not. You can call it that, but what is a coincidence but a sequence of events that seem to happen, random events that happen that seem to have more meaning than what they do. And unfortunately, I've seen enough of those experiences. I've experienced enough of those experiences to know that they happen all the time. Not only do they happen all the time, but they all have meaning too, in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I'm doing my best to not call out the times, the little numerological cues that are going off because I can't control time. Well, maybe I can. I just don't realize it yet. But well, I mean, there is no time to control. But these little these timers, the clocks, like I can't control what numbers come out when I say certain things. Sometimes certain numerological patterns have specific meanings, and I'll notice that when my mind is getting to a certain topic or to a certain peak of a conversation, that it will be a certain time. Certain times do pop up more frequently than others. So the Scorpio. The Scorpio is breaking out of the mundane and into the world of the esoteric. It's the death of the old self. Really very profound. The problem is, like, I hate word association. It's hard to do that because there's so many words here. But I mean, it's the nature of Scorpio itself is that it's fixed. I don't know how to. What is fixed? Fixed is like it's set. It's set in its ways. It's order. Like this Scorpio is all about death, dying constantly. This is its mission in life, is to destroy, and transform, and regrow everything that's in its path. This is a sign of revolution, I say. I mean that's Aries. Aries is the god of war also. I mean, I'm sorry, Mars. Mars is the planet of war. It's the planet of aggression, the planet of sexual need, want, lust. And you know what? Maybe that would be a better idea to the planets first. No, I guess not. It takes practice. So it brings a Taurus back to the second zodiac, which is Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Latin word for Vetus is Lucifer, means light bringer. Earth sign, big second house. Grounding. Grounding. What the hell does that mean? Staying balanced, staying grounded, staying not going a little too far. Hey, back down to earth, bud. Losing you there. Bringing down to earth. Bringing down to earth. Constancy, steadiness, fixedness, spirit becoming embodied, entering matter, taking a form, vessel, container for spiritual forces. All right, I think I get that. So if Aries is the birth of the soul, we call it. The sun. Well, the sun is the soul. Sun. Rebirthing. That initial, I need to do something. Because Aries would be that gestation period of that thing that needs to be done, and Taurus would be the embodiment of the soul into the vessel. Okay, so this would almost be like grounded. I picture it almost like the tree of life of Kabbalah. Because the way that works is you start with Malkuth, kingdom, you work your way up to Cathar, the crown, and then you work your way back down again. It's like going back and forth for your missions. What do I do next? And I kind of see that. I feel that here. This is like the what you would consider source, the messages from source coming down to this body. To embody the spiritual nature, to bring that back forth into the body. Find out who you are and bring it down to you. Is that making sense? Bringing down the earth, constancy. Fix yes. Spirit become embodied. Entering matter. Taking on form. Maybe this is even creation to an extent. This is maybe fleshing out an idea, taking that initial idea that you had in Aries and putting it on paper. Grounding it, making it real, making it solid. Maybe not exactly what it's supposed to be yet, but maybe that initial blueprint is being drawn out. It's Earth sign, so it represents the physical realm. Physical and spiritual, how I look at it. Combination of the spiritual and physical joining together. Which is exactly what that says. It's kind of like the pentacles in tarot, which represent the earth, the element of earth, it's the physical realm. And that's what this is. This is taking that idea and putting it down on paper. In some way, shape, or form, not literally putting it down. And you could say that all the time with someone like me. I mean, I'm constantly coming up with ideas and trying to innovate on them and to make them more tangible, to make them real. But what are my ideas? My ideas are for me, aspects of myself that I want to change, things I want to do. So it's and I told someone this weekend I wanted to be the emperor of the universe, and they laughed, of course. But I want to be the emperor of the universe. Now I just need to formulate, put that into solid form. What do I mean that? in order to be the emperor of the universe, one would need to hold certain characteristics about themselves. They'd have to be able to do certain things, say certain things, behave in a certain way. And to have the title Emperor of the Universe, which is a title I made up myself, right? No, I may not be able to sit on the throne at the center of the universe. Saying is to embody the characteristics of one who would. That's what I mean. To be it. Because eventually you be it, you are it. When you are it, that's it. I mean, and that's exactly what this is. A vessel or container for spiritual forces. The spirit of the Emperor of the Universe resides within my vessel. I have to make this match what's inside. And the only way to make this match what's inside is to bridge the gap between the physical and the spiritual. Does that make sense? With mental plane. Overcoming the fears of Emperor of the Universe isn't embarrassed by anything that he does, so he's not ashamed of anything that he does. His physical body might have a hard time expressing that, but that's where the bridge between the physical and the spiritual needs to be made, and that would be the mental. The mind connects the two. The spiritual comes up with the ideas. The mind is the one that fights those ideas and tries to make them into physical reality, which is, for instance, I met this girl. I forget her name. Very pretty. Oh my gosh, you're beautiful. Get her name. Then we started bullshitting, and I was testing my ability to talk to women I was intimidated by. And that was a big experiment of mine, to talk to women I'm intimidated by. Started last weekend, going for a couple days now. Did pretty fucking good. And I needed to do that. How do you do it? How do you overcome fear of women that intimidate you? Talking to them and find out that they're not as scary as you think they are. They're actually bigger pussies than you are. Embodying that spiritual nature of, I'm not afraid of you anymore. And listen, spirituality doesn't all have to be like fucking bombs and this. It could be about getting laid. It could be about finding someone that you want to spend a lot of time with. And yeah, getting laid is sometimes an aspect of that. I haven't had sex in a long time, but a year. So we can chase that sleep. With someone that's worthy of it. I mean, I have had some opportunities that popped up that I just am not very interested in. For good reason. It's my own thing. So the way I'm going through these signs is each planet has two signs that's associated with. Now Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they aren't in the original 7. So I base the astrology that I follow on the original 7. You can do it any way you want. It's no ways right or wrong. It's all the same. Whatever you want it to be is what it is. Okay. So Taurus, this is actually like much easier than studying a book, because this makes a lot more sense. So Taurus would be exactly that. And it's a great I'm very familiar with this process. Entering into matter. Okay. What more do I really need to say about that, besides from that's it. This is the feminine aspect of Venus. Venus is also planet of love, lust, passion. I guess we'll get to the planets later. This is what it is. And Taurus is also a fixed sign, so this is another sign that's set in its ways. So this is pure earth energy. This is the earth at its peak. This is what it's all about. This is also very much also associated with the law of attraction and manifestation, because by embodying those spiritual aspects of ourselves, by physically putting that energy out there. Because remember, this is words are magic. That's why it's called spelling. What is magic but creating and manipulating the energies around you? And that's what you're doing. You're taking that spiritual energy, bridging the gap with your mind and making it into you, putting that energy out. That energy is now going out into the future, or into to the future, to bring back what is attracts like. Everything is magnetic. Even I was thinking about this the other day. Gravity is not really gravity. It's magnetism that holds us down, because we're metals and all other aspects of our bodies. Metal. We only think of magnetism because magnets involving metal, because that's how we're taught it. But magnetism is all of those things. Magnetism is gravity. It's just everything's attracted to everything else. I don't know how to prove that specifically yet, but I think people are just so used to hearing gravity that they associate it with magnetism. I believe magnetism was the original concept behind gravity. I have to do more research into that. I don't know off the top of my head. So how would you find these characteristics in a person? Someone who's grounded, someone who likes to, someone who's based in the material realm. This is like, these are people who just love stuff. These people want stuff. They want physical. Because now, keep in mind, there's a spiritual aspect to astrology, but there's also a dark side to it as well. Not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Grounded. Yeah, I guess the opposite of this would be like the negative downside of Taurus would be like being stuck in your head, like your head's in the clouds, like you're thinking too much, which I don't believe in thinking too much. But maybe that's actually the real benefit of it. But I think it's also more mercurial or air sign to be stuck in your mind. Steadiness. Well, in a sense, steadiness would be grounded, to be to be firm in your ways, in a sense, to not back down to a challenge. Fixedness, I guess that's the same thing. Well, this dark side astrology. It's got to be like a bad shit to it. All right, so Taurus is ruled by Venus, and so is Virgo. We're in Virgo season, aren't we? I don't know much about Virgo. No, I'm sorry, Libra. Libra, the balance, the scales. Well, let's just think about Libra. So, and you know what? Maybe that's funny, because Libra is the feminine or the masculine aspect of Venus, which is an air sign, which happens to be kind of what I was saying before, like ungrounded, stuck in the air. Air is all about the mind, communication, intelligence. Libra, balance, same thing, hot and cold, black and white. It's about understanding the balance between being grounded but yet still working in your mind. Spirit as individual entering into relationships with others. Partnership. One-to-one relationships. Meeting others as an equal. Interdependency. encountering repressed parts of yourself through others via projection. Going beyond ego boundaries, peace, harmony, balance, social awareness. Interesting. It actually made me think of something. So we kind of want to explore now. Well, what is interdependency? Is that when two people are dependent on each other? Dependence of two or more people or things on each other. But I mean, I guess that's a good thing as long as everybody also realizes that they're dependent on themselves as well, that they need themselves. You don't need anybody else. That's what I know of. I don't know. Well, I guess technically that would need somebody else. You can't go on forever. Like nothing can't be something forever. And technically, you do need, and I can really believe this, spirit as the individual entering into a relationship with others. Okay, so that's really the spiritual person going out. This is that person created in Taurus, that embodiment of spiritual nature, going out and hey, everybody, look at me. Going back to Aries, using those Aries qualities to embody who you are. Those Aries qualities that you're finding who you are. Initial birth of this spiritual person coming down into Taurus, grounding itself. And this is the opposite, where I guess Taurus would be more of finding yourself, reintroducing yourself into yourself, and Libra sounds like it's a balance of taking that person that you now are and going out into the world and sharing it with others, meeting people, and maybe not even multiple people. Maybe this is just about finding one person. I have a feeling that the person I met is a Libra. She happens to be a lawyer. It makes me think of the balance, justice balance, which is the balances of scales of balance. Libra. I also saw a two-sided aspect of her flip personality, which made me think of Gemini too. It's definitely an air sign of some sort. One-to-one relationships. Right, because you need balance with that. People need to balance each other out. I'm going to say balance a lot with Libra because that's literally what it's about. Peace, harmony. On the same point, I mean, we have discord. Spirit as an individual entering into relationships with others. That is literally me. Meeting others as equal. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, realistically, I've met a lot of belligerently drunk people this weekend that were completely coherent when you talk to them about certain things. These people were like sometimes but they'd have on very coherent conversations, not much slurring, not much like fucking around. Like their brains were there. They knew exactly what they were saying. They could hold the conversation. They can hold their own. They can argue like the best of them. Encountering repressed parts of yourself through others by projection. Okay, this is the one that kind of got me, because there was this one girl I was trying to, and every time I tried to talk to her, she would walk away. But I think I was doing the same thing, because even when she said she had to go to the bathroom, I walked away, because I didn't think she was coming back, but she did come back. I tried to talk, but she was very difficult to talk to. But then again, I was being difficult to talk to too, because I didn't have a really good conversation starter, to say. Relationships, though. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the fuck to say to people. Now you just say whatever you're supposed to say. That's why. I mean, by not getting the results I wanted this time, I know not to say the things that I got last time. Okay, well, there we go. There's using our mercurial aspect. Oh, Libra is an air sign. Let's do it with mine. It's a cardinal air, right? Yeah. No, it's yeah, yes, told you. It's an initiator. It's the beginning. It's a thought. Okay, I think we're kind of embodying that right now. Is trying to work out a problem. So what do we need to learn from that? We need to learn that if we weren't saying the right thing, why would somebody not be interested in what was being said? Been doing anything. I was the one who was disengaging, walking around because I would have just followed her around. Okay, but instead I was the one who kept on running away to regroup and analyze what I was doing wrong. And what I was doing wrong was regrouping to go figure out what I was doing wrong because that's what I was doing wrong. I should have stayed on the course. I was too afraid that she was going to yell at me and go, "What do you want? What are you following me for?" So I won't talk to you. That's why. I won't talk to you. I'm very interested in talking to you. Okay, that makes sense. That's always something I should have done. Want to eventually be your boyfriend? I want to see if you're worth having as a girlfriend. I want to see if you're into boyfriends and girlfriends. See if you're worth having as a girlfriend. I want to possibly marry you, but I need to know who the fuck you are first. Is that what you say to people? I think I want to marry you, but I need to know who you are. Know more about you. It's fair enough. I'm being honest, right? It's being too honest. There's nothing such thing as being too honest. It's being honest and not honest. I mean, there are degrees of honesty. There's so much honesty before it turns back into a lie. Every truth can have lie. Every lie can have truth. Well, how can you ever be fully honest? You can't. Because just because you say it today doesn't mean you mean it tomorrow. And I think that's a very valuable lesson because, and I was saying this to my brother, is I'm also trying to work, I was also trying to work things out with my ex. That didn't seem to go very well, but also taking the stance of inaction on that standpoint. But now I'm thinking, like, what if both these two come together and say, hey, yeah, you know what, this is like something I want to try out. Talk to me more. But then again, I guess talking to me more doesn't mean that we're getting married. Right? I don't have to juggle. I have to let everyone know what I'm doing. I can't be secretive about something like that. Well, I could. And then whoever likes it likes, and whoever doesn't can go fuck off. This is the way of it. Plus, it would probably give everyone inspiration to work hard, try harder. I used to like when I had women fighting. Right? But I mean, I'm a little more short. I don't want to, going beyond ego boundaries. Going beyond ego boundaries. The boundaries of the ego are physical. That's looking past ourselves. That's getting at breaking out of thinking that we know everything for sure. That's boundaries. Go with boundaries. I'm going to use the example of me dancing. I was afraid of dancing, and I had two girls teach me how to dance. Not that it was very hard. It was actually pretty easy. You move like an idiot. That's it. Let's do dance live. My moves were know better there, but you know what? I did a couple of these. Trying to learn how to say fuck it. It's breaking out of those egoic barriers of being embarrassed to move, to get the demons out of you. Peace. Peace, balance. Balance is peace. There's no conflict, and there's no too much of one or the other. Harmony, same thing. Balance, social awareness. Yeah. They're all pretty solid characteristics, and pretty easy to say. Interdependence. I need you just as much as you need me. I'm interdependent on myself. All dependent on myself. Interdependent. I depend on you just as much as you depend on me. Yeah, of course. All three aspects of myself are dependent on each other. Like I said, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. They're all, and the metaphysical, whatever you want to call that one. They're all combined into this beautiful little thing that you see before you. Hi. One-to-one relationships. What is that? The other says equal. I guess that goes along with the one-on-one aspect where you're not any better or worse than anybody else. That you realize that you're all equals. But on a one-on-one perspective, I guess that could come off wrong because everyone's got their egoic. I'm right. I'm always right. You're always wrong. You're always wrong. I'm always right. It was great. But we can break past that. Those are those barriers. Like that guy Dave I met. We didn't always agree on everything, but he even said, I was actually really impressed. He even goes, that's the beauty of it. We can disagree. We don't have to be both right in our own way. They didn't say it like that. He wasn't as eloquent. But he's right in that's the beauty of it, is that we're both right. And we can both disagree at the same time. So we're both right and we're both wrong. And neither one of us can tell the other one why not. But each one of us can give the other one more evidence to support whatever we want. And having the conversations with each other is to open up those aspects of ourselves, to want more of it, to want to think more, to be more to be equals. Because though all animals are created equal, some animals are created more equal than others. That repress the parts of yourself through others. That's a big one. Anytime that we encounter people, we are getting something reflected back at us. Something has to figure out exactly what it is. Sometimes it's light, sometimes it's illumination. Makes sense. I try to, whenever I interact with anyone, I try to figure out what needs to be gained from that. What can I gain from it? What can you gain from it? If I can learn what you can gain from it, what I can gain from it, it's a bonus. So this guy Andrew was friends with this chick I met. He was trying to give me advice on talking to women. I was like scared shitless about talking to this woman. To be honest, I even said, I'm like, it's something about talking to people that you're sexually attracted to that make them uncomfortable. What makes that uncomfortable? Because you know and they know that you're both thinking about sex. That's why. I might as well get the awkward shit out of the way first. But it's probably like not the worst idea to have sex first and get it out of the way. So I was watching Good Will Hunting. And Mimi Driver had that idea. Do you want to just make out and just get that out of the way? Maybe set supposes a quick little make out, get that out of the way, get the awkward shit done, so we can go back to having a conversation. How it falls. I don't know. But even talking to him, Andrew, I was explaining to him I play, being honest and such. I couldn't help but think that, at least right now, that there's aspects that he needed to hear as well, because he was very down on himself, saying he looked like a clown, and they kind of felt bad for him. I thought he looked great. I thought he had a great outfit on. I wish I had that outfit. Probably would look better on me, but whatever. I believe he needed to see that I too have weakness. I too can be flawed in the sense that I can get scared. It is scary. There's a lot of scary stuff out there. There are people that intimidate us, but unfortunately, luckily, sometimes people that intimidate us are girls. So girls intimidate me more than men. Ironic. Does that work? Oh, I'm not sexually attracted to the men. I think that's where it gets me fucked up. You don't want to be looked at as a creep. That's my thing. I don't want to be creepy. I don't want to be looked at as creepy because I see guys that are creepy as fuck. And I mean everything I say. I mean when I say it. So, what is that? Why would I be afraid of being creepy? Do you think women are creepier than men? I think they have hidden agendas. I think they just want to get pregnant or get married. Why? I'm the one that did that. Remember, being married was my idea, getting a kid was my idea. A kid was my idea because I didn't want to die from an overdose. I was afraid one of us was going to die. We're going to take it too far as possible. Marriage, same thing. But then again, at the same time, she was also on a way of seeing someone else. So maybe that was me trying to lock her down. You know, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I was the problem. It's something I can admit to. That's not a big thing. I get it. And realistically, that's that little shiver you got there. That was like a revelation. That was like a coming to a conclusion that I haven't come to before. I have, but hard to admit it. I mean, I'm admitting it right now, but I don't normally admit that type of shit out loud. It's really in my head, but that's why I'm doing this, is so I can start admitting things out loud and putting the energy out there. Because by me doing this work, it is you doing this work, because you just watching it, you're seeing me do it, and it's going to give you the idea of doing it, of how to do it and how I did it, and maybe even you might even have come to the same revelations in your own personal life by hearing me do it in mine through metaphor and analogy. Possible? Possible not. Keep in mind, there's nobody watching, so I don't know if anyone's even going to realize most of this shit. Anyone's ever going to see this stuff. But they will eventually. Not right this second. I mean, right now for me, it's probably the same right now for you, but just totally different places. You're going to be in the future. I'm in the future, where you'd be in the past watching that. Makes a lot of sense. If you're thinking about it my way, if you realize that there is no such thing as past, present, or future, that there is only right now. Right now, if you says that what fucks you up is the sun and the moon going around the earth, making those days in the calendar system. If you realize that those calendar systems aren't really there, that they're just make believe, just for you. Even the other seasons and all that shit. It's a good way to keep track of stuff. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to keep track. I mean, we could through the zodiac, which is really all you need. Which is why I prefer the zodiacal calendar over the Gregorian or Julian, whichever one we're using. feel free to use it. It's fine. Works the same. So anyway, we're on Gemini with another air sign. It's immutable air, third house, third sign. I don't know the houses. Gemini. Curiosity, cleverness, skill, communication, making connections with surroundings, trying to figure things out. First display of intelligence by embodied spirit. Okay. So this is like the I think, therefore I am sign. A little bit shaky, baby. Gemini's got the twins, got the ego and the unegoic mind, battling it out, trying to figure shit out. Being curious, and that's what being curious is. Like, what is this? Sounds pretty good. The first display of intelligence by the embodied spirit. So the spirit is created in Aries, it is embodied into the vessel in Taurus, and then in Gemini, I think, therefore I am. So here I am. Hey, everybody. Kind of like a baby. Cleverness. I mean, again, this is an air sign. The air signs are about intelligence. It's about the mind. Plus, this is signed and ruled by Mercury, which is god of messenger of the gods, is the illuminator. Hermes, Lucifer, Prometheus. This is when the wisdom of the heavens is expressed through being. Maybe not perfectly, but it's there, making connections with the surroundings. What does that mean? What kind of connections? I mean, I guess we could surface level connections. Like, okay, this desk is what I use for my recordings. This computer is what I use for my recordings. My mom and my stepfather, they live upstairs. I am connected to this house because it's their house. In essence, it's technically my house as well. Because, well, I mean, from a little standpoint. Then there's others. There is emotional and spiritual associations. For instance, my mother is the feminine as half of my own being. So there are aspects of her that I need to understand and work better because they're in me. I need those aspects to shine. And sometimes it's just little things. It's being honest. She's a very honest woman. She's a Sagittarius, so I'm kind of excited to get to that, see if I can see any qualities in her in there. And let that also be part of trying to figure things out, is trying to weigh what is going on. Here's one who's most about that. Here's standing up. These are the twins, Castor and Pollux, ego and the physic and the non-ego, the egoic mind and the intuitive mind. First split intelligence. Yeah, I mean, what else can I say about that? That's the once we know where we're going, if we know what we want, this is using your mind to make it happen, to examine what it is that you want. We need to figure things out. I need to figure out what I want. In order to figure out what I want, I got to figure out what I don't want, and vice versa. Making those connections with your surroundings, figuring out what's what, who's who, where's where. I mean, it's associate with the place I was at this weekend with a very specific experience of being a certain way, finding that finding that that piece of me in that place to bring back, because wherever we go, which is where we find ourselves, there's always a lesson to be learned and something of importance to be had. A lesson, a skill, and what's a skill? I mean, not always something that we can learn to do, but something that we learn to do for ourselves, or here. Cleverness, skill there. Yeah, I guess it's Gemini. It's associated with that. What's cleverness? Cleverness is just being clever of you. The skill to do the things, communication. I mean, to communicate, one needs to be skillful and clever and curious, because you need to be able to examine and to reassess and to throw things away that may not be suitable for you anymore, which happens. There was an aspect of me that was that didn't dance. It was acceptable to get rid of that guy. There was an aspect of me that was intimidated by women, which I'm working on getting rid of that guy. And it's through evaluation and curiosity, like this said, and also to be able to communicate with myself so that I can have the conversation, the energy exchange with me to go, we're putting too much energy here, we're not putting enough energy there, we're putting too much energy here, not enough there. You know what I mean? To find out where should our energy flow be going. Energy flows where the attention goes. You got to figure out what to put your attention on in order to figure that out properly. I think I'm doing pretty fucking good with that new pod. I'd like to do this again with the pod. When we come down to the feminine aspect of Virgo, this feminine aspect of Mercury in Virgo is the mutable air. What about the cardinal air? Air. It can't be two mutable airs. It's a mutable ground. What am I talking about? Mercury or Virgo is the virgin. She's the. Curious to see how this goes. Embodiment of the individual in the world. Problems of adjustment, dealing with the world and others. Perfection of your approach to life. Development of mundane skills. Ability to change, to adapt to life better. Let's think about that one. These, I mean, they make sense. I just want to associate them with something innate. Embodiment of the individual in the world. I mean, what I see in that is, how do you explain it? And I feel like a spotlight is being shown on to one individual where everybody is kind of doing the same thing, that this one is particular, which is you. You are doing what you need to do, because to everybody else, you're exactly the same as everyone else. Everyone's an individual in their own mind. Everyone's always in ourselves is not an individual, because everyone looks like everybody else. That's how I perceive it. This is mutable Earth. This is going into Libra. Libra is about balance. This is about problems, adjustment, dealing with the world and others. Okay. Well, I mean, if we go into Libra, so for instance, this is mutable Earth. So this is Earth moving into air also. So there's going to be some airy qualities about this. And some of those, because even Libra is about those interpersonal relationships with others and the world itself. This Virgo, which seems like you're dealing with how to manage them. What does that mean? Problems of adjustment, dealing with the world. It's you are bring this back to my experience this weekend. Dancing. I needed to learn to dance in order to achieve some of the things I needed to do, like dance with a pretty ass girl. We're gonna dance with her if I didn't dance. Or the problem that I had to do was get over the fear of dancing. So I did, and I got to dance with the girl, and I kissed her too. On the cheek. Thanks for teaching me to dance. The big one to do. Perfection of your approach to life. And that goes back into what we're talking about. This is that molding process where okay, and Virgo represents the Virgin Mother, the inception. This is the creation of that new life. Almost, because after Libra comes Scorpio. Once we have perfected who we are, what we want to be, once we know where we're going, what we want to do, how we want to get there, developing of the mundane skills, learning the trade or craft in which that we want to personify, that we want to make our living. And it comes to Libra, which is then how having those one-on-one relationships with the world, relationships with people around us, and then ultimately into Scorpio, where we die to that old self to begin anew. I think that's how I'm kind of seeing it right now. Granted, this is my first time ever doing this shit. I think I'm doing a pretty good fucking job. And right now, even in Virgo season, I think we are seeing that this is quite relevant right now. Embodiment of the individual in the world, because even going to the place Saturday of this weekend was a whole new world for me. Those are a whole type of individuals that I'm not used to interacting with on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people from a different aspect of society that I'm not familiar with. So getting the experience of working with those people and seeing how, they're different, but yet the same as others. They're different here, they're different in their externalization of who they are, but in the end, they are very similar to others. They require a different approach. They require a different mindset. And as Virgo is showing here, developing our skills, perfecting our approach at life, and finding those problems with relating to the world around us. How is that? And I guess that's kind of this combination of Mercury and Earth here. Because realistically, Earth going into air, and air is really, that's represented by Mercury. This is kind of like the gradation between the signs, these mutable signs. Yeah, it's an Earth sign, but it also gradates into cardinal air, the initiator. I think I'm satisfied with this for the most part. This is just like a brief one. So now these are fun too. Oh, no, past them. Because save the best for last. So Sagittarius. go back to those. So Cancer, crab, it's a water sign, cardinal water, nurturing, support, belonging, emotion, bonds, roots, source, grounding of your being, unconscious feelings, emotions, the great mother, universal womb, spirit's first emotional attachments into the world. Okay. Nurturing, loving yourself, supporting yourself, being the person that you need to be, belonging to who you are, belonging to your group. But even still, I feel this is still like in the individual's growth. I mean, we don't get into world building until a little bit later. Ground of your being, unconscious. What does that mean? Unconscious. The aspects of ourselves that aren't conscious. Which is the spirit, subconscious, because subconscious is conscious. Unconscious, which would be the dream realm, which would be higher dimensional thinking, feelings, emotions, yeah. Is ruled by the moon. Well, technically, yeah, there you go. It's the only sign that's ruled by the moon, which is emotion. so yeah, that would make the most sense. The Great Mother, yeah, because the moon is the moon goddess, is the Holy Mother, Mother of God, universal womb. It's universal womb. Yeah. Non-linear immersive multimedia. No, that's like fuck. I guess it's the womb of creation. It's the spirit's first emotional attachments to the world. Okay. That forms emotional attachments to this new world that I'm existing in. And even during Cancer season, I was trying to find a place to belong, roots, source, being. And I remember when I went on my California trip, this is really when I was trying to find myself in Cancer season, really rebirth myself, and in a sense I did, because on the way back from California is really when I really got to gestate on that bus and go, this is me, this is what I'm doing. It's a potent time. And then that's exactly it. This is when that real, true sense of who I was and what I was doing, and emotional attachments to the things around me really started to come up. What do I mean by that? I remember a lot of the reason I even came back was because of some things I was dealing with my house and my life. My ex. I wanted to deal with them before I moved on and tried something new, and I did deal with them. I dealt with them perfectly. That wasn't exactly the way that I was supposed to. Not exactly how I wanted, but how I was supposed to. Whereas first emotional attachment should always be with yourself. That's what I'm learning. That's what I learned with that in California. On my way back, it's that I am the one. I'm the power behind everything in my life. I'm a little lovey dovey. I love you. I can talk to me all day. I'm very encouraging of everything that I do. Even if I do have doubts from time to time, I will quickly alleviate that because I know that there's nothing to doubt myself on because I deserve it. I deserve all the stuff. I deserve everything that I'm doing. I deserve everything that I'm getting. And I'm not counting anything as good or bad in that statement either because there's neither good nor bad. Everything just is. You want to consider it good or bad, that's up to you. I don't feel the need to do that. Because everything has a lesson to learn, even the bad. It's cancer. Nurturing. I mean, it's very motherly energy. I mean, it's the moon supporting, belonging, emotional bonds. We have those. I mean, my emotional bonds with my mother have actually been growing. I'm learning a lot from her. Roots, source, yeah. I mean, this is all part of the same shed. Move on to Leo, my sign. Ruled by the sun, fire, fixed fire in the fifth house. Spirit entering the realm of the individual person. Ego development, setting yourself apart from the rest of the world, becoming your own person. Self-expression, true to your inner nature. Acting from the heart, dawning awareness of self in relation to others. I can see the dawning awareness of self in relation to others. What I don't know what that says to me is kind of like you see how you see yourself in other people more than just like the negative stuff, but how you affect them and they affect you. The interdependency that you each have on each other, more symbiotic than parasitic, in that you're learning instead of relying. Acting from the heart. I mean, that's a very important one. This is a hard one for most people. I mean, we're doing it no matter what, whether you realize you're doing it or not. The idea of doing what you're supposed to, and I guess that's really it. When you're forcing yourself to do things that you don't want to do, and not that it's a bad thing to do those things, because forcing yourself to do shit you don't want to do is how you get better at doing shit, and it makes you want to do things more. And when other people see you do more, then they want to do more with you. It's the same exact concept in that. I don't know. I think I'm making that up, but being true to yourself, being true to your inner nature, being true to who you are, being true to your truth, being true to you, the most important person that there is. You're not succumbing to the demands of everyone else around you. And even if you do, to the extent, we all do to an extent. So you don't do anything that's not right for you. I always say that, like, when people want to give me advice and shit, no, I mean, your advice is probably the best, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to see what I can get out of it. Because there might be something that could be of use, something helpful, something useful that I can learn from, that I can grow from. And I think that's a part of this. And Leo is a very egoic sign to begin with, because it's the king, it's the ruler, he's the top dog. It's the only sign ruled by the sun. But the sun, there is nothing else. Setting yourself apart from the rest of the world, and yeah, in finding out who you are. And I think this is kind of like all kind of repeating itself a little bit, because I think that's the ultimate purpose of this. And maybe this is more of this is more a transitional period. I think finding who you are and being who you are, well, I guess they're different. They're the same, but they're different. Finding who you are and being who you are. There's growing pains in finding who you are. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be the most pleasurable ride. That I can assure you. But to be who you are, you've already found who you are. Now you are just doing it. You are embodying it. And yeah, you know what? There might be some little slip ups here and there, but you know what? You did it, and no one else did it. So, what can you say? Acting hard, dawning awareness of self in others, and maybe what that means, dawning awareness of self in others, is not even that you are seeing yourself in others, but others are seeing themselves in you. You're inspiring others to do, and find, and grow in ways that you are. Being a leader, that's what being a Leo is. It's a leader. But Leo is very centered on himself, because for good reason. Because Leo recognizes that without me, there's no one else, nothing else matters. And that's just part of the process, because eventually when we come to Aquarius is the opposing sign of Leo, it's kind of the opposite. And I think we'll jump to that one next. I think it's a Saturnian sign, but I love Aquarius, because Aquarius is pretty much essentially the same thing as Hermes and Mercury. This is the water bearer pouring the light of water of heaven, knowledge and wisdom of heaven down onto man. It's a fixed air, ruled by Saturn, planet of death, destruction. Spirits attempt to create ideal relationships and organizations. Good. See, where Leo is the sign of you're out for number one. Aquarius is doing what's right for the whole, using what you have and externalizing it to create ideal relationships and organizations. And essentially that's it. This is using your power to grow externally. This is the external world reflecting your internal world. Kind of what we were getting at the end of Leo, where it was the self-actualization in others, seeing yourself in others, and others seeing themselves in you. This is the same thing, based on freedom and cooperation between individuals. Based on freedom, cooperation between individuals. So, well, maybe that's what this whole thing is. Spirits attempt to create ideal relationships and organizations based on freedom and cooperation between individuals. Finding like-minded individuals, there you go. Find like-minded individuals to create with, and that's something I find myself on right now. Is to that's a very difficult one. Is to relinquish a little bit of your own control over things and to pass it on to other people so that others can do the same thing. But this almost speaks to me like. Not even teaching people, but uniting with people and taking two aspects, taking your ideas and my ideas and making new ideas out of all of them. Free thinking, unorthodox. Free thinking. Think for yourself. This is another air sign. This is like the air sign. This is the air sign of all air signs. Of fixed signs. It's unorthodox, yes. Thinking outside the box, not shackled by outdated ideology. Perfection of society, whereas Aquarius, well, I mean, we're going to the Aquarian age, which is the age of enlightenment, and that's what Aquarius is all about, is enlightenment. He said the water bearer pouring the water down onto man represents the wisdom of heaven, and heaven is coming down, illuminating man, the perfection of society, and illumination will lead to that perfection of society, because society as a whole is shit. We all see that, but we all could use some illumination in the societal terms that we have. So I'm just not shackled by outdated ideologies, just being able to think something new, think different than everybody else. This I'm very aware of. I'm very Aquarian in the way I think. I mean, I absolutely embody a lot of the qualities from a lot of the signs, because that's a lot of what I do, is to prove that you have it all there. You have everything. Every single zodiac is an aspect of you that needs to come out. You just need to figure out how to do it, how to find it. We'll jump back to Sagittarius. I mean, Aquarius is pretty solid. Sagittarius, this is the centaur. This is kind of representing man raising out of the beast mode. Instead of fire sign, it's mutable fire. So it goes into earth. So how would I presume that? I know Sagittarius, let's find out. We're moving beyond the realm of the individual into the world at large. Okay. This is kind of like stepping out. This is coming out of the closet. This is, hello world, I'm here. What do you want from me? Becoming a member of a wider society, yeah. Guys, experiences that lead to consciousness expansion. Okay. Makes sense? Being receptive to new points of view, wisdom, enlightenment, using your talents for the benefit of the greater whole. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, that makes sense. And like very intelligent, very provocative thought-wise. My mind is highly attuned to shit that people can't even fucking imagine. How can that help people? How can I help people with that? By just being me, by doing this, by going out, by you know how many people's lives I affected just this weekend, just by being out there. Me and my brothers, by being ourselves and being different, literally going out into the world, going, hey guys, here we are. This is the new world order. This is the new order right here. This is individuality. This is freedom. This is a conscious, expansive experience. It really was. I mean, not just for myself, which absolutely 100% was. My brother as well, and for everyone that we interacted with, everyone that we met learned something about themselves. Not only just learned something about themselves, but learned something about the world around them. It was very profound experiences that probably a lot of people maybe took for granted. Maybe not. Maybe a lot of those people that we met, they all took something out of that experience, and holy shit, that was amazing, because it really was. I mean, I have been up, down, left, and right, all over the place. And very few times have I experienced something exactly like what I experienced this weekend, which was phenomenal. It was fantastic. Being receptive to new points of view, and that's a good one too. Is you have to be. You have to understand that not everyone is going to think exactly like you. They're going to think differently. And yet, maybe you've thought about why they think that way. Maybe it's not anything new to you, but maybe it's because you're not looking hard enough. Maybe there's something more that you need to learn from that experience. I've been thinking of this gentleman, Dave, that I met. But no, I don't know. He's right. We were both right in that none of it's real. None of this shit's real. In terms of the esoteric stuff, yeah, It's real, but it's not real. Just like it's not real, but it's real. All depends on the user, the end user, and what the end user gets out of it. Which is really what it all comes down to. I mean, my experience in life is going to be your experience from life. Granted, I pay attention to astrology, numerology, study Hebrew, and demonology, energetic healing, and all that shit. But what I feel, yeah, I did a Reiki this weekend. A really pretty girl. She was pretty. So I hope I talk to her again. No. Yeah, God, I gave her Reiki on the dance floor. It worked. I felt it worked. Reiki on my flutter. I felt it. It felt amazing. Experiences that lead to conscious expansion in it. Being receptive to new points of view, wisdom. Yeah, wisdom. Where does wisdom come from? Wisdom, in my opinion, comes from doing the things that you know, expressing knowledge. The knowledge gained through experience, wisdom. You can't fucking just prove it. Enlightenment, which is all the same thing. Use your talents to benefit the whole world. And yeah, there you go. My talents of just being myself and being free, being unafraid. That was thrown into the world this weekend in a very big way, very cool way. Shooting for the stars, right? Isn't that what this one's about? Knowing where you want to go and spirit moving beyond the realm of the individual into the world at large. Yeah, shooting the arrow out and just going, let's go. Jupiterian. Capricorn, another Saturn. This is my father's son. It's the cardinal Earth initiator. Spirit's attempt to bring about perfect society, to create heaven on earth, making practical, efficient connections with others on the physical plane. Ambitious, feels pride in accomplishments, concerned with truth, reality, artifacts, relationship to authority. You know, I read this book called Message from the Stars by Max Heinlein. It's an esoteric astrology book. It's pretty good. It's really good. Which I think this site gets into a little bit, and saying that the Capricornian age is should be one of despotism, to taking the advances of the Aquarian age and creating a society that's very cold, machine-like, it said. And I can see that. That's kind of what I envision for New World Order, is humanity, numbers being dwindled. My idea of the New World Order is starting World War III, setting off a couple bombs, wiping out the planet, most of the planet's population having to rebuild. And that rebirth, the rebuilding society is under the control of one or two much wiser individuals who have complete control over everything. I believe there's going to be there's going to be the time when my mind is completely connected to the source, which I'm trying to visualize my chipping away at that thing, so that eventually I can have full control of it over it. Because I believe that eventually people are going to have most people like people to think for them, so why not do it literally? Instead of telling them what to think for them. It makes things much easier. And when people are in less numbers, it's easier to control them.
at least for now. I'm learning how to maintain that control in larger groups as well. It's hard. A lot of energy, a lot of people talking. I think I was trying to give a girl a palm reading on Saturday, and it was very difficult to do because there was just so much noise and so much energy like all over the place that it just wasn't working very easily for me. It was hard to connect, especially when being taken seriously. I feel pride in accomplishments. Yeah, no, that's making practical, efficient connections with others on the physical plane. That's a different. That's one that's kind of hard to do because you don't know when you're going too far with people. Well, you're never going too far. There's no such thing as too far with people. Just need more time to process shit. Concerned with truth, reality, hard facts. Concerned with truth, reality, hard facts. I guess everyone's going to see reality different, and everyone's truths are going to be different. Even though we like to say facts are facts. Facts aren't my facts, but try to play that shit with me. Fact is something that somebody else figured out, and I try not to base my truths on other people's findings. Not always. I mean, there's certain things I don't know. Yeah, I'm learning astrology, which is based off of someone else's teachings. But here's the thing: is I'm learning astrology so that I can do astrology my way. Because your astrology isn't actually my astrology, which is okay. We don't need to practice the same thing because it works however you want it to work, however you believe it works. Beliefs, but there is a system. There's a system nonetheless. I'm just trying to integrate the system into the other systems that I know. Some people only know one thing. To know astrology, everything else that goes around it, you can kind of gauge what the way everything else goes. Kind of what else is about this, man? To create heaven on earth. And this might not be, this may not be a society as a whole, as much as just on an individual level, because our world isn't just Earth, it's our immediate surroundings. To create heaven on earth, you do have to start with our insides first. Once heaven is here, it's only a matter of time till it's reflected out there. And but in order to find it in oneself, one needs to do some serious fucking soul searching, which is the whole point of all this. It takes many revolutions through the zodiac to figure out who you are. It took me 38. Now going to Pisces, which is the last. This is another turning it. No, this is Jupiter and Neptune. It's a water sign. Mutable water. 12th house. Surrender to the universe. Given to. Yeah. Just give in. Stop fucking with. Stop fighting. Given to the universe to higher goals. Ego sacrifice. Compassion and empathy. Selfless work. Seeing the unity of all things, the end of cycles, forming seeds for the next cycle of growth, spirit as individual dissolving back into pure spirit. Okay, I think that's almost like dying, in a sense. Essentially what it is the end of a cycle, the beginning of something new. It's the end of something old. The seeds are forming you're planting the seeds for the next cycle to come through, for the next Aries shift. What you're doing in Pisces should give you a pretty good idea of where you're going to go next year. Pisces, March 23rd, 22nd, go to March. What the hell was I doing February to March? We'll get to that. Pisces, the end of an age. Pisces. We just came out of the Piscean age. Spirit, as individual, is all back into spirit. That was Christ. Christ, who was a man, God, and died on the cross and went back to heaven. How much you believe that Simon the Nicene was crucified instead of Jesus, which is also possible. Nicene, Nicene, Simon, yes, betrayed by God. Seeing the unity of all things. What does that mean? I guess you can say that all things, that we all share consciousness, that we're all part of that universal mind consciousness, all in that way, and that the human being is just an extension of the universe itself, an extension of the universe, and that we are the universe's tools to play with itself, to experience what it is that it's created. What's the point of having creation if you don't have anything to experience the creation? So you can create these little spacesuits so that you can play and dance along and do whatever you want. That makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It's like having a video game. You have to create a character to play the game or to enjoy the game. The spirit as individuals on the back. I feel that. Solving back. I feel like that's just like coming to the end. Everything's just compact. It's like almost like New Game Plus. You're about to beat the game. This is that. All of those things that you've learned, you've taken in, and now it's time to project them out. Because remember that Aries is spirit being initiated, and that's exactly what this is that this new spirit, this new being is now being initiated inside of you, ready for Aries season, for New Game Plus to tackle the world. And those seeds, those things you didn't get to do last cycle, are now going to be the forefront this time around. It's pretty cool. It's a really cool concept. Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. I don't mind. So these here are the planets. There are a number of planets divided into personal or fast-moving and collective or slow-moving planets. Personal planets, collective planets. Personal planets are the fast-moving ones, collective ones are the slow ones. Personal planets are the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Said to be fast-moving because it takes them a short time, days, to a maximum of a year to travel through the zodiacal circle, as they quickly shift from one sign to the other to release their energies very differently in each individual. Collective planets are Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, Uranus, taking them longer time to travel through the zodiac. They remain in a sign for several years, and their energies affect one or several generations. Therefore, their influence on the individual's personality is less important. The sign is ruled and represented by a planet. The sign can be ruled by the same planet, a single planet, or two planets. Planets in general all represent some aspect or factor in a person's life. The planet's actions is influenced by the sign it tenants. It plays out primarily in the area of life indicated by the house where it is positioned. Sun rules Leo, defines personal identity, ego, and unique self-expression. The sun represents what the individual is trying to become. Okay. Soul, what you want to be, makes sense. Personal identity, ego, and unique self-expression. Ego is how you view yourself. Unique self-expression. Moon rules Cancer and helps define emotional development or express the conscious side of personality, the unconscious side of personality. Moon also influences the senses and represents instinctual self. What does that mean? These are the emotions. Like I consider this emotions. Everyone's just like emotional development. To develop emotions is to experience emotions, express them, express the unconscious side of personality, which is the emotional aspect, the emotional side, because we do express the emotions, but not in such a way, not in a conscious way, not all the time. The moon also influences the senses and represents instinctual self. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. It defines the mind and the way it is used. Intelligence, language, writing, speech, all forms of communication are under the influence of Mercury. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. It represents the qualities of love, romance, sensuality, culture, beauty, affection, and social appeal. And let's go back. There's Leo. Some rules Leo. Leo is all about self, finding yourself, being who you are, being true to yourself, personal identity, ego, unique self-expression. Yeah, that's exactly it. Who the individual is trying to become, finding yourself, being true to yourself. Cancer rules Cancer. Cancer is all about nurturing motherly instincts, compassion, emotion, and that's pretty much all of the embodiment of the moon. Gemini and Virgo finds the mind and the ways to use intelligence, language, speech, communication. What is Gemini? Gemini is kind of like that back and forth wish-wash that we are, the egoic and the intuitive mind, kind of always at will, the angel and the demon on your shoulders. Virgo is about what? Finding our way, finding who we are again, creating, trying to perfect the way that we communicate with the world, not just through words, but through our expressions. In a more grounded sense, because we're Geminis, we're trying to mentally come to grips with certain aspects and curiosities and learning things. It's in Virgo that we're actually putting it out there, trying to put it out there. Venus who got Taurus and Libra. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. It represents qualities of love, romance, sensuality, culture, beauty, affection, and social appeal. And Taurus is the embodiment of the initial spirit taking physical form. Maybe still like almost a dry template, still trying to figure itself out, depending on how many cycles you've been aware of this. But yeah, that's it. Love. You need to love yourself. Romance, sensuality, culture. It's taking things in. But then Libra is about balance, and again, like bringing balance to those ideas from Virgo and taking it into relationships outside, relationships with people and relationships with the world itself. And where Taurus is earth energy, Libra is air, communication, language. You're going out there and you're finding people. You're creating new relationships with people. Mars rules Aries and is sub-ruler of Scorpio. It indicates a sense of impulsiveness, aggressiveness, courage, action, willpower, enthusiasm, and even negative traits such as impatience, temperament, violence, and conflict. It should. Aries, the god of war and initiation. Impulsiveness. I have a thing with impulsiveness. I don't think impulsiveness is really like that impulsive. I think impulsiveness is just a word used to put a negative connotation on a positive aspect of ourselves. Because being impulsive, what is that? I do what I want when I want. I want to do something right now. Okay, do it. What's holding me back? You're the one holding me back, and everyone else. You're letting other people hold you. No, you are allowing other people to hold you back. You're blaming other people for holding you back because they call you impulsive, so you don't do the things that you want to do. So you sit back and do nothing like them. People don't like impulsive people because it makes them look lazy. It indicates a sense of impulsiveness, aggressiveness, and yet those are all signs of Aries. But what is also Scorpio? Scorpio is the end of the cycle. It's dying to the self. It's destruction, which leads to recreation. Aries. Aries goes out and has the ideas, at least the thought of the idea. And Scorpio is the destroyer that makes room for those ideas to come to fruition. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, but Jupiter also rules Pisces. It is considered the planet of luck. Jupiter symbolizes expansion, development, and good fortune. That's what they say. What is good fortune? I mean, I made a lot of money this weekend. A lot of spiritual money. Attention, people pay attention. Attention and, what is it? Attention and time. People give you their time, and you show them attention. People give you attention people pay attention when you give them your time. Pay for time with attention. It's like this weekend I had a lot of friends, met a lot of new people, and had a lot of groups. People that were fucking this tendency of having multiple people surrounding me while I speak. It's a big one. And that is my fortune. That's giving me your attention is my spiritual currency, which eventually, that turns into real currency. Well, I hope so. That's the plan. I can't. People don't just give. You have to give something back. I think that's something that we miss. Saturn, most Capricorn, and the sub-ruler of Aquarius, it teaches through experience. Challenges, problems, and situations. Saturn's influence provides the endurance, patience, and determination to overcome all odds. And I can sense a lot of Saturnian energy in myself because of just those characteristics. Patience. That is a hard one. That is a very difficult one. Very hard. Saturn also rules Neptune rules Pisces, but so does Jupiter. Expresses itself through mystical, spiritual, and psychic forces. Okay. Pluto also rules Scorpio. The energies associated with Pluto are power, death, rebirth, transformation, secrets, and that which is hidden in occult. Uranus also rules Aquarius. Its expression is in the form of revolution, change, unpredictability, and disruption. How's that? Well, enlightenment. Enlightenment, you can't become enlightened without destroying the old, without revolutionizing that which already is. Revolution doesn't always mean a nice thing either. I mean, this could be a revolution of the self. This could be a revolution of society. Going, no, hell no, we ain't doing this no more. Change is the same thing. Unpredictability and disruption. Yeah. These are the qualities that begin before the revolution. Even people want change, and sometimes when things are disorganized, it doesn't work that way. You get change, but not the change that you're looking for. Scorpio, which is perfect for Pluto, is perfect for Scorpio. Pluto is also Hades. Power, death, rebirth, transformation. I mean, these are all the characteristics we were talking about with Scorpio earlier. Transformation of secrets and that which is hidden in the occult. Neptune expresses itself in mystical and spiritual, and psychic forces. So that was pretty interesting, and I mean, it was pretty good. I enjoyed that. Learned some stuff, some things that I didn't know. A little bit more. There are 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. Elements refer to the vital forces or energies that make up the entire creation that is commonly perceived by human beings. 4 elements reveal the ability to participate in certain realms of being and tuned into specific fields of life experience. They each represent a basic kind of energy and consciousness that operates within everyone. Fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. General characteristics of fire signs: those with planets in fire signs have a shimmering at the race stance as they hunt for things that light them up. They're prone to sudden illuminating flashes of insight and bursts of enthusiasm. Like fire itself, they can flare up when inspired, making them seem very passionate about life. They like to live large and often feel frustrated by the mundane chores and duties. Fire signs are known to be intuitive, to rely on gut-level instincts. Going on faith in their inner guidance gets them far, but they have a tendency to skip crucial steps or to be unaware of the emotional impact of their actions. That's I'm not going to argue with that. I know that's a tendency of mine, but it's a good thing to even read and go, oh shit, yeah, that's right. I have a habit of not thinking about other people before I do things. And the fire element in astrology. When the fire element is present, there's a warm radiance of trust in life's journey and willingness to take risks. Any part of the celebration is made better with the presence of a fully charged up fire sign. They're great catalysts for play and reliable to unearth the spontaneous side of those around them. Because they sense a golden thread of destiny, potential running through their own lives, and potential. Because they sense a golden thread of destiny, potential running through their own lives, they have a knack for leading others to theirs. Fire signs act as instinct or sixth sense, and that makes them look reckless to more cautious types. They're actually following a powerful intuition that keeps them at the leading edge of fresh experiences. Yeah, that's like, I was thinking of California and how that worked out. That's exactly what that is. A lot of people thought that I was doing something crazy. And actually, I was just following my instinct, something I was planning for a while. Fire is infused with a divine spark, and this can spread like wildfire to everyone around them. They've got a lust for life that is enviable. Those that are weighted down might try to toss a wet blanket on their enthusiasm. So fire must vigilantly guard its beacon. It's important for them to have cheerleaders to fan the flames of their interests. And Ducius, the demon of music, is communicating very loudly to me this weekend. I did mention cheerleader. But fire that thinks only of itself learns the wisdom of the other elements the hard way. They'll keep coming up against resistance until there's willingness to see there are no shortcuts. Each of the other elements is something to offer in return. Fire gives off a glow that is as nourishing as the rays of the sun. Sounds good. I like the way those all sound. And I can relate in a lot of ways to that. And studying the tarot, I mean, studying the tarot is about studying the elements and perfecting the elements, and that is a lot of what fire is all about. Okay. Not much to say about that. The sixth sense, that instinctual need to do, is kind of a lot of how I roll with my life. I just let it guide. I let it go. I try not to fight. it, but there are times where it just happens. But being a fixed fire sign, and being more open to those experiences is very eye-opening. The earth signs are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, general characteristics of the earth sign. It's common to hear someone described as earthy. Such a person blends in with their natural habitat. They're sensual, meaning they engage with life through the five senses. It takes time to sense the dense physical world. Earth signs can operate at a slower, more thorough pace than the other elements. They're oriented toward what's real, and often this makes them very productive, able to create tangible results. But if there's no balancing elements, Earth's extremes could lead to being a workaholic, hoarding of possessions, pettiness, getting stuck in the mundane, stubbornness, etc. Those with earth signs often seem to inhabit their physical bodies, which can be described in New Age terms as grounded. Whatever their ground is, whether it is a high-rise office building or rural cottage, they're sending out feelers through the senses. The physical is the densest plane, and they're masters of assessing and organizing tangible things. One expression of earth sign qualities, and I'm envisioning a hippie chick here, might be someone who is easygoing and languid, aware of local flora and fauna, often have leaves in their hair, dirt on their hands. They're intimately attuned to the dance of nature. I love to spend time outdoors. I don't think I know anyone like that. Well, maybe me. But earth signs can just as easily work their magic in urban places, since they're often centers of a certain kind of high-level productivity. The focus on the task at hand makes them vulnerable to the all work and no play cul-de-sac of life. They're more apt to base their reality on what is around them in form instead of creating personal myths or assigning symbolic meanings to everything. That's why too much of a good thing, Earth, can be stifling to things like inspiration, going on faith, sense of purpose. Earth signs are here to shape, manifest, cultivate, and revel in earthly delights. Their gift to others is bringing form to ideas, making them a balancing partner for an ideal dreamer of potential. They tend their own garden and inspire others to make the most of theirs. I can envision it. I just don't see that outside at all. And maybe the homeless people. Yeah, because they're very connected to the physical world themselves. Like if they just knew what they were missing, then they would probably be able to get the fuck out of there. But I mean that's the most. Is the first thing that popped in my head. I mean, most people in the physical realm. I mean, even the people I experienced this weekend, they're all very physical. It's like the satanic sign, the physical realm. And it's putting the physical existence above everything else. What would be considered satanic from Christian. The air signs are Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Those with planets in air signs use their minds to make sense of their lives. With air, there's more space between the life lived, and the observing mind. This can lead air signs to appear detached, aloof, remote, cool. Sometimes they'll try to walk their way through feelings and analyze a situation instead of encountering its full emotional weight. The gift of air is flexibility and their ability to experience life through many prisms. They are often excellent communicators, storytellers, interpreters, and journalists. They link people together socially and often have a curiosity that keeps them out and about. I can relate to some of those qualities myself. I do keep myself open to a lot of things. So. An airbender. Those with planets in air signs lead with the head, and those wheels are always turning to analyze and interpret their world. These are the idea people who breeze in and offer a fresh perspective on the situation at hand. As observers, but often seen from a loftier position and able to offer clarity that others do not have. Air signs are social creatures, since their currency is ideas, and they'll find more stimulation when out mingling. Some are drawn to words and become professional communicators, while others, especially Aquarians, have a more conceptual way of thinking. Air signs are masters at navigating beneath the collective waters, and therefore are astute commentators of the cultural trends, attitudes, and consciousness of the times. When air is out of balance, you can encounter a talking head, someone cut off from his or her own physical self. Air signs are more vulnerable to the excesses of our mind-body split, and could benefit from yoga and other somatic practices. A meditation practice helps air signs calm the static. It's very true. It's very goddamn true. When air is out of balance, you can encounter a talking head, someone cutting off from the physical self. Air signs are more vulnerable. That is read that. That's just duplicated. In relationships, the distance of air. In relationships, the distance of air to their emotions can be refreshing. They're great conversationalists because they're the keepers of so much knowledge, gossip, strange factoids, etc. Talking with an inspired air sign can be like skipping through a kind of virtual reality full of detail, specificity, and local color. The water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Water signs are tuned to waves of emotion and often seem to have a built-in sonar for reading a mood. This gives them a special sensitivity in relationships, knowing when to show warmth and when to hold back. At their best, they are a healing force that brings people together. At their worst, they are psychic vampires able to manipulate and drain the life force of those closest to them. Water signs are tuned into the many shades of meaning in relationships and at times can absorb vibes from others. They have to work harder than other elements to maintain personal boundaries. Those with planets and water signs are often assessing a situation by its undercurrents. It can give them an air of being aloof or even and shy at first, but they're the warmest souls when you've won their trust. Going forward in a relationship or situation often means being sure of their emotional ground, a kind of decision-making process that is baffling to others. The perceptions border on psychic. Their perceptions border on psychic, but these insights can be clouded by the intensity of feelings or are altered by vivid imaginations. The nuances of feeling experienced by water signs lead them into the arts. Some find release on their own personal drums when they're able to express them as universal. As writers, musicians, and actors, they help others make sense of the human experience, but this also happens in everyday life, since water signs soften the edge of the mundane by padding it with emotional meaning. Water is formless. It's a formless element on its own, and that's why those with this sign are so quickly shaped by their relationships to others. They need time alone to remember when they end and others begin. And to let what's been stirred up by life find its way to a quiet calm again. These are people who need people, but also need the restoring space of solitude. I can relate to every single one of those aspects. In terms of that's not good. Have to, need to well, who the fuck, man? I'm just checking. A lot. Prayers from the depths of the sharing of creation. I'm doing right now. Gupta Vidya. Right, fuck it. So, what happened this weekend? So I wanted to work out. Start off with that overdose awareness thing, which was all right. I mean, it was fine. I mean, it's really going to help my mother set up. Talked to some people. I walked around most of the time and got where I could, which was fine. Donating, right? I've been donating my time. And, I met some people there. Very pretty girl. She's married. We talked, we connected. We talked about me, mostly, in turn, what we do and how we're doing it. It was pretty interesting. And then that night I went down to a couple towns down, wow, to see a friend of my brother's. And ended up meeting some people there too. I mean, every time I go to this place, this is my third time there, I end up meeting people. People just have this tendency of being drawn to me and him talking. And some of the people that were people that we met prior. But it was a really good experience to go out there and put myself in a situation that I wouldn't normally and enjoy. I mean, it's not my type of place. I don't like going to clubs, but actually I had a very good time with the people that I met, with people that I knew, with myself. I did spend some time alone there as well too. So I think that some people that were enjoyable that I wanted to know more about, and I got to learn more about them, and they helped me learn about myself. It was actually a very, despite being like a party of sorts, I found it to be a very engrossing and enlightening experience because it helped me overcome a lot of shit that I've never dealt with before, or at least not so blatantly had to deal with right in my face. I mean, I had to do a lot of things that I wasn't comfortable with. Nothing illegal or really that strenuous, like dancing, talking to girls, talking to strangers, making friends with people that I don't know, being social with people who normally probably wouldn't associate with me. But at the same time, people wanted to. People coming out to make themselves known so that I would acknowledge them. It was a very interesting experience, especially to see people who intentionally want to come out to play with me, come to talk to me. There were many people who liked talking to me just to talk in ways that no one else has. To be different, because I'm different. I'm different. I'm fine with that. I don't mind. It's normal. It's normal to be different. It's good to be different. I think it's good to be different. I think it's very good to be different because you don't want it to be the same thing over and over again because of stagnate. This one idea is perpetuated constantly. It's never going to expand or grow. Yeah, well, I mean, eventually I have no choice. Nothing can't be something forever. If ever. Static. I mean, something can't be static forever. Everything changes, everything dies, everything transforms, everything mutates. It's just the way of life, including experiences and ideas and thoughts and ourselves, our physical appearances. And that's just the crumb of my lip. It's a piece of dust on the screen. And that was really embodied this weekend. To find, I keep saying girl of my dream, but you have to understand that very particular taste for women. And I met one who was the epitome of everything I was looking for. And physically and mentally as well. We really didn't get to talk too much, but
what we did, from what I did gather, was that I did enjoy the person that I met. But that involved me doing something I wasn't really comfortable with. So I was a girl looking at the stars and being one who loves astrology, and she was a very beautiful girl. I decided to bring a conversation over, and that conversation led to very potent intuitive reading. Which the revelation about herself, for one thing, because realistically, what I was seeing for her was really what I wanted to see for myself as well. Uh, that's just the nature of reading for people like that, is to know, get a feel for people. Everyone is more similar than we think, but we're all different at the same time. Um, Did you mean it when you said it? That popped in my head. Of course, I didn't mean it when you said it. Don't mean it afterwards. Um, you're emotionally blocked. Go through emotion, actually hit that wall before it fucking falls to the ground. You're a nasty one, aren't you? But I guess that's normal. It's your thing. I mean, that's gonna bite you in the ass eventually. You learn your lesson out of that, but it was okay. Nothing wrong with it. I think we all have something to learn. Um, so astrology, huh? Didn't work out exactly the way I wanted it to. I mean, yeah, it did. It did, but it didn't. Let's try again, Aries. Aries, what is Aries? Aries is a sign of ruled by Mars. It's got issues to it. Masculine side of Mars. Male, fiery, powerful, energetic, initiator, creator, impulsive, aggressive. Some conflict. Find it conflict. I sense conflict in Aries. Aries is also the beginner of that new cycle. Birth is babies. Babies, not always babies of the brutal babies, which are actually demons, but spirit babies in the metaphorical sense, in that we need to, where we start our crawl, we start to crawl before we can walk or run. These are the Taurus. Venus. Actualization of ideas, the physical realm, the connection to the physical world itself, grounding yourself, personification of who you realize yourself to be in Aries. That initiator. I'm just saying what the signs mean to me. It's not a matter of what they mean to you or
look at me, I'm an Aries, I do this now.
No, we all do this shit. Like everyone's got the characteristics of all the other signs. It's a story. It's a story of your growth. It explains the story of how you can expand. Do it on your own. Just let it happen. Let it happen.
Gemini.
Those two twins, back and forth, bipolar. People associate bipolar sort of with Geminis, up and down. Constantly. I think everyone's up and down. That's the thing. Communication, relationships. And you can say relationship. I mean, the twins, Castor Pollux. I mean, they're two individuals. Were they always twins, or were they once lovers? You know, lover's card in tarot is a Gemini card. It's a card ruled by Gemini, ruled by Mercury. Mind. It's all about mind. Communication, relationships, forging ourselves into who we want to be based on what we don't want to be. Figuring things out for ourselves, figuring out who we are, and then we move into Cancer, which is kind of like nurturing that person, nurturing who we are becoming, who we are trying to be. We're learning from the world around us to figure out where we fit in. And Cancer seems to be that nurturing side, taking care of yourself to bolster that person that you love. Leo, like, they seem to be once you're ready to start stepping out into the world and start being that individual that you become. Look at me, boys. Look at me. It's the ego. It's you. It's your self-expression. It's being true to yourself, like what Slate was saying, but it's also owning everyone around you, not compromising yourself for others, which in a sense leads us into Virgo, which is where we're still fine-tuning a little bit. Which now we're we are who we are. We're still nurturing, we're still creating, we're still molding. But I think now we have the confidence to look at what aspects still need to be broken down, changed, or readjusted, recalculated. There's a Libra, which is finally that balancing of who we are, what we want to be, and where we want to go, who we want to be doing things with, how we want to be doing things with, and the people that we want to communicate with. Bringing some form of balance into our lives so that we can then venture out into the world. But remember, Libra is another sign about communication and relationship building. Moving into Sagittarius, which is now that we are kind of establishing ourselves, we're trying to put this image of who we are back into the world. And back in Gemini, we're figuring things out of who we want to be and who we want to be compared to who we are in the world. Even Leo, we're owning who we are. Once you get into Virgo, and we're still molding, we're still shifting things around. Libra with building our relationships. And I think Sagittarius is where we go, okay, this is what we're capable of. Let's go fucking shoot for the stars. Let's fucking kill it. And even the centaur represents man evolving from that beast nature, stepping out and becoming an individual leader, one who's an inspiration for other people, other animals. Well, oh, I don't want to be an animal anymore. I'm going to be a person now. And that's what they see in Sagittarius. As he's shooting for the stars and shooting out to see what he can create in the world, which leads to Capricorn. And it's kind of like the goat out of the fish, goat evolving out of the fish, which is where the fish is. It's a creature that lives in the water, emotions, the flow of energy. It's taking that wisdom learned from swimming through the flood, that energy, that energetic shore of emotion, bring it to land, actualizing it. They said bring heaven, like the site said, bringing heaven, creating heaven on earth. But authoritarian sense. Well, I guess you would have to be, because there comes a time where you need to manage, because this is where your vision is now becoming actualized, and if you're spreading yourself out as much as the rest of the zodiac is showing, by the time you reach Capricorn, this is no longer like an individualized type of situation or experience. This is more expansive, where there's multiple people working together to create something. And I think the initial Aryan soul that we talked about with Aries is now kind of like the boss in the situation. Where this is how it has to be done. This is what I want. This is how I want it. I want to go on here and there, everywhere. This is how I want people to respond to certain things. This is where new societal concepts are coming into play. Because then we lead into Aquarius, which is kind of the opposite of Leo, where it's all about taking what we've learned about ourselves and using it out into the world, which is pretty much what we were building up to with Capricorn, which was that new societal outlook. And Aquarius is that. Aquarius is to enlighten those around us and to bring other people who are paid up to our level, which is their own level, but so that they can start doing the same thing that we are. And then we go into Pisces, which is about revolution. It's about making change. The end of cycles is destroying what was once there, destroying the old to create something new, because those seeds that we're planting in Pisces are what's going to come to fruition in the next cycle of Aries. And now we have the foundation of this society that we're creating, breaking things down, revolutionizing things. But in Aries, we can take everything we learned. Okay, so that was my journey so far. How are we going to take it going into the new cycle? How do we really pound that into the way things are? How they could be, how they will be. It's interesting. It's an interesting idea. I mean, well, as above, so below, as within, as without. I mean, the story of the soul's path through the zodiac is the same as societies and stars, planets. Kind of. This is it's an incredible system, and then you can even see it through everything else. But then when you relate it to something like Tree of Life, which is all basically the same thing as well, because each one of the Sephiroth are represented by the planets, chakras, the universe itself. There's a lot to all this and how it all plays out. It's very complex, very interesting. Really look forward to digging into it more. Some other things I need to do. So where do we want to go with this? I've kind of lost a bunch of plot. So we just. So we got did the astrology stuff. Okay. Go me.
So what else can we talk about today? Because I've been had a long weekend. So what's we do the weekend? The weekend was just involving going out to this club and just fucking hanging out and having a good time. I had a really great time. Not just fun wise, but intellectually as well. As surprising as that fucking may sound, I don't know. I might be one of the few people that can have an existential experience at a club and intellectually growing one as well. It's pretty fascinating. More than just dancing anymore. The club. I kind of want to read something, but I don't feel like talking. I feel like I need to communicate more, but I can't force anything to happen. It's not going to happen. There's really not much to talk about right now. I'm starting to think I don't even need the cards anymore. I'm starting to think that they're kind of like just a waste of time, but they're just not. It's not my job to be assessing other people. I don't need the cards to tell me anything. It's a parlor trick. They're for me. They're helping me learn about myself. And Lucius, you dog. Where were we at earlier? Astaroth. Poor Astaroth. Where milking perceived wrong or victim status. We've all been there. We've all been the victim. Maybe that's what I need to go do is start writing some of these out. I also like to write out the cards. They it's all a meaning. I should do that. Pens are like on short supply here. Good ones at least. Oh, poor Astaroth. Beware of milking perceived wrong or victim status to the point at which others begin to lose sympathy and avoid the complainer. I think we all know that person. We've all been that person. I like to complain about my ex all the time. Poor me, woe is me. But that conversation getting old. So old. Anything more about her that I even need to talk about? You're withholding my kid from me, but I'm withholding money from you. So kid's worth has a value to you, a monetary value. Or maybe because you told so many lies about me that now that you know it's not true, you don't know what the fuck to do. I don't really know. That actually is something worth considering. Like, are you a victim? Do you really tell people you're a victim? I can imagine that. You're a single mom, poor me, woe is me, I work 2 jobs. No one asked you to do that. You should be doing something more with yourself, like trying to work things out with your husband to give your son the life that he's supposed to have. Rather be a fucker and be a victim. You don't have to be busy all the time. You can make time to say hi to me and try to work things out. You want to be a fucking cunt, which is fine. You can do that too. Whatever. Is it whatever? You can do whatever you want. Anyone's allowed to do whatever they want. I'm not making that big of an attempt to even try to find you 2 fucking idiots, because what's the point? 2 idiots? Why would you say that? Because why not? I could say that. They're stupid. They are stupid. They're stupid for what they're doing. When they could be working together on like, I don't know. Working together on like trying to figure out
fix what's going on. We're getting sued for like lots of money instead of me having to fucking figure everything out. Well, who knows? Maybe they're figuring something out too. Maybe they have a plan. That'd be good to know. Does that have a plan? So maybe their plan. I can't even imagine them having a plan because people don't plan. Fucking plans. They don't fucking complain. That's what they do. Everyone complains. I'm tired of hearing complaining. Why are you tired of hearing complaining? This makes me want to complain. Complain about the complaining. There's something that you need to see. Because it's bringing up something inside yourself. Like what? Making plans with other people. Assuming that everyone's going to play along with my plans because I want them to. Everyone's got their own plans. I got my own plans I got to deal with. It makes sense. That's something I need to work on. Well, do I? I don't know. And maybe that's a lesson for even with the astrology is that maybe it's time to start looking at things differently. Yeah, totally. In revising the skills that we have. I mean, like I said, like I learned this weekend, I don't need the cards to tell anyone anything. I can just see it on you. Even just having a conversation. I can relate in ways that most people can't, but the cards really did help me do that. It's just I don't really need them. I don't think. I don't need a tool. So, do you know the origin of the word scapegoat? Before it meant being the fall guy, it was part of an ancient Semitic ritual mentioned in Leviticus, in which a goat was symbolically given all the sins of the people and sent out into the wilderness as a sacrifice to the goat demons. The chief of the wild goat demons was Azazel. According to the book of Enoch, before he was leader of the goat demons, Azazel was an angel who taught humankind how to make weapons and cosmetics. He was cast out of heaven because man used those skills to fight wars and seduce angels. Not unlike Prometheus, the Titan who was punished for stealing fire from man, Azazel's most terrible crime was revealing secrets that others then used against God. Before he collected the scapegoats, Azazel was one. It seems Azazel was one. Because of his connection with goats, creatures who later came to be closely associated with the devil. Who is in many ways a scapegoat for many wrongs. Demonologists made Azazel the official guardian of the goats. There are many. Here's another pair of water. There are many situations that are no one's fault, or the fault of so many people that no one should take the blame. It's still important that we find one person to punish. If that person truly deserves punishment or not. When good things happen by, again, chance or confluence, we don't spend as much time looking around for the person to reward, do we? Beware of looking for someone to blame in situations in which no one person is responsible. Focus on fairness and offering equal praise for success and blame for mistakes. We all do that. This is like such a he did it, no he did it, scapegoating. I've been there. I've been the scapegoat many times. But I've also scapegoated many people. I feel like this is easier writing. talking about it because it helps me explore more. That's what I'm gonna go do.